Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP Verso build in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Verso can dish out a ton of damage, and like Maelle, he's got weapons that power him up quite a bit. So with certain attacks you can apply break literally on the first turn of combat, and then follow it up with another one of those attacks. With the right Pictos we can dish out so much damage, and he may not put out the same numbers that Maelle does, but he is very powerful. We can also buff him up with Sciel using her Fortune's Fury and Intervention, or Maelle to be able to take out either groups of enemies or solo enemies, so I'll be showing you the full build here. One of the most powerful abilities is the Steeled Strike here. You have to be in the S rank to be able to do this, but we have a weapon that can start us off in the S rank. And after one turn we do a devastating attack. Now if you have the cheater Picto, this can be very powerful because it's going to automatically start your turn, and then you go in and do your very powerful attack, which can take out a lot of enemies really easily. So this is a pretty powerful build. Verso does it all. He has single target damage, group damage, as well he can also do the rapid fire free aim shot builds. I would recommend using the Chevalam weapon, which scales off agility and luck, which seem to be really useful for Verso as you want him going often. This will start you off in the S rank, but you can't be healed or gain shield, so you do have to play a bit more aggressively using this. So you may want to swap this off if there's a boss that's giving you a challenge, but this actually works well against one of the hardest bosses in this game. Actually, most of the hardest bosses in this game. It also gives you a 20% increased damage for each consecutive turn without taking damage. So you can actually stack up 100% extra damage relatively easily, actually. And on top of this, you also get Rush on rank S. So you get Rush on yourself. You have a high agility score, making this honestly one of the best weapons. Now, Pictos, we want to get our critical rate up to 75% because we're going to apply one that's going to give us an increased 25% critical hit chance on burning targets. So I like the energizing turn, as this is going to give you an energy or an action point on the start of a turn. Charging critical as well, as this will give you gradient charges on critical hits. And then Claire's life, you can really use whatever. The cheater Picto is possibly one of the best. So that's why the Luminas are very important here, with things like the accelerating shots, which we're going to do free aim shots as well. But our first turn is going to have an increased damage due to some of the Pictos here. At Death's Door, some bosses will take you down to 1 health point, makes it a huge difference in damage. Increased free aim damage, breaking shots giving us increased break damage, breaking burn. We're going to always have burn applied, so that 25% increased break's always good. Breaking attacks, we can break on our base attack. I like to have some of the base attack scaling. Dualiso is a weapon I used to use often with Verso, but it doesn't have great scaling and the damage isn't high, but we can still use the plain old attack. Burn affinity will give us 25% increased damage. As I mentioned, we're going to always have a burn applied. Burning shots give a 20% chance of a burn. And on a free aim shot, 20% gradient charge on a critical hit, as I mentioned earlier. The cheater Picto is invaluable here because Steeled Strike becomes extremely useful using this. Charging weakness for more gradient charges. We want really anything that's going to give a gradient charge. Combo attacks, we can do an extra attack, and you can apply the extra combo attacks as well as you see fit. 25% increased break damage on critical hits with our 100% critical hit rate. That's just more break damage. And also the double mark. We want to also set up marked for Maelle because she gets extra damage on marked targets. We're just going to dish out a ton of damage naturally. The Dodger, critical burn, so 25% increased critical hit chance on burning targets. As mentioned, that's why we want the 75% crit rate, because we're going to get extra damage, extra break, and that extra critical rate. Gain powerful 1 turn on base attack, 1 action point on base attack. This can be good if you're out of action points. And the energizing break is good too, because after we break a target, we can use another Picto to be able to go right afterwards and get that boost to action points. Energizing shots, this is a massive one, so this gives us a chance to get a action point or free aim shot. Hypothetically, with crazy luck, you could shoot forever. So it's pretty useful. Energizing shot plus 1 action point on battle start, and the energy master makes sure that we're able to get our action points back quickly. As you saw there, I used 2 attacks that have a 9 action point cost, but reduced to 5 on S rank. First strike, you can use that on someone else if you prefer, but I like it there. Gradient break, 50% in gradient charge on breaking a target. Deal 25% more damage, but take 25% more. I think this is a fair trade. We're going to try and take enemies out faster than they can touch us. Full strength gives us increased damage on full health, which is great. So we got full health, or if we're at 1 health point, we'll also do a 50% increased damage. And Immaculate, so this is useful because we get started in S rank, and the Immaculate dishes out so much more damage as well. Apply mark on break, 20% chance to apply mark on free aim shot, and 2 action points on dealing damage to marked target once per turn. Play again on breaking a target, as mentioned, super useful because we get the extra action points. And then we also have an ability that keeps the target broke if we're in the A rank. So if we got hit in the previous turn, this is actually pretty useful. I also got the shortcut here, so if we break a target, or if we go below 30% health, we can play again. Stay marked, we'll apply the mark again. Tainted, we get extra damage if we have a status effect on us. That's always a useful one to have on anyone. After a free aim hit, base attack is increased by 50% for 1 turn, so that can also be nice to boost our free base attacks as well. And teamwork, 10% increased damage while all allies are alive. If you don't have as many Lumina points, take off any of the ones for your base attack and just use your perfect break and some of your other skills. I find the best ones being the Phantom Stars here, doing extreme late single damage to all targets for 5 hits, can break, and it only costs 5 action points. So if we use this on our first turn, we can use it back to back. It's really effective. And the Endbringer deals extreme single target physical to 6 hits. This is what we want to use if the target is stunned, because it'll reapply stun if we're in the A rank. Sealed Strike, this is one that we're going to use on S rank. After 1 turn, deals extreme single target physical damage, 13 hits. If you take damage, it's interrupted. So that's why we want to have the cheater Pictos, so we automatically go again. And S rank will give extra damage. Strike Storm, this is a pretty useful one. You do have to use the action really quickly to make sure that it does land, otherwise you miss this shot. But it does extreme or high single target damage, 5 hits. Marking Shot's good because it only costs 2 action points, and this can set up Maelle really well if you see that her turn's right after yours. And Perfect Break, enough said, this is a really useful skill. High single target light damage, can break. S rank on rank, if you break, and a B, it only costs 5 action points. So if you go down to the B rank, this can be useful. So we got something that covers pretty much everything with that setup. And what this looks like in combat, or I guess we'll go over attributes as well too. The first stat you want to max out is your agility. This will give you the max amount of damage quickly. With our luck also maxed out next, and then our might to increase our total damage. You can see there Maelle fully spec'd out with her respective skills can only get an attack power of 10,500, whereas we get 11,000. So a bit more damage there, although Maelle does a lot more damage. The first turn of combat, typically we want to use the Phantom Stars. If there's multiple enemies, this is going to be useful because it's going to do a good amount of damage to a large group of enemies. So boom, you can break shields there and also knock targets down. And with the action points that we have built up, we're able to do it once more. Although if there's a target that didn't get hit, we can go with the Steeled Strike here. The reason we're going to go with Steeled Strike is we can just go again with this attack. We don't get a turn right now, but since Sciel gets a turn, she can use the Fortune's Fury here, which will make it so that we deal double damage for our next turn. So we start off with that there, boost us up, and then for our next action, we'll do Intervention, which makes Verso go automatically. So this also gives him a bunch of action points, and then he deals double damage this turn, so you can then go in and basically one-shot whatever boss you're going against. It's extremely powerful. And then he also gets to go again here on his turn, so then you can go with your free aim shots or whatever, finish off the rest of the enemies. You can use your Steeled Strike again, you can use that back to back. Verso becomes extremely powerful in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 really quickly, and he's underrated for doing damage. Maelle obviously can do better single target damage, but Verso's got great crowd control. If there's multiple enemies, you can take them all out with him, and he also does have that Steeled Strike, which hits extremely hard. With a marked target, Stendhal is likely the better option there, but still extremely powerful. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.